We welcome you to another edition of Homefield Advantage, brought to you by our friends with Jake Major and the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. I'm Elon Alf. That's Anthony Colasino. Aaron Poling is on a well-earned vacation right now, and we are excited to see him. I think he'll be back a week from today, actually.
Yes.
So we're excited that he's out on vacation. You know, guys, sometimes it's a grind, and people need their time off, so we're excited that Aaron's kind of getting that. So
hopefully he's enjoying the plane flight. I knew he had to fly from Salt Lake to Charlotte, North Carolina, and then back up to Michigan.
Hopefully he's off the plane by now. I mean, he left at midnight.
I'm hoping, yeah.
So
yeah.
Hopefully. But anyway, throughout the next few months, people are going to be missing because it is that time of year when people kind of take some time to recharge.
Yeah.
And we're hoping Aaron has a great time. But in the meantime, we have a great show for you today. We have a breakdown of Bridger Valley soccer coming up this week, as well as Evanston soccer in a very important game for the boys. And also, for the first time, we'll hear from Evanston Outlaws manager, I almost said Red Devils, Outlaws manager, Nick Small, as surprise, it's opening day for the Outlaws. Evanston will take on the Rock Springs Stallions tonight at 6 o'clock in a scheduled 9-inning game, but depending on how things go, it may only go 7. But the pregame show brought to you by Kazine's Ace and Furniture will air at 5:15. And then we will be first pitch at 6 o'clock live on mylocalradio.com and KNYN 99.1 FM if you prefer to listen to it on the radio. Myself and Anthony will have a call as we are excited about that, but we'll talk more about that later. First, when we come back, we're going to talk about the soccer games coming up. Big games for Bridger Valley, big games for Evanston. You're tuned in to Homefield Advantage, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital.
When you have an emergency, choose Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Open 24/7, the professional emergency room staff is trained for trauma, medical, cardiac, pediatric, orthopedic, and obstetric emergencies. Bear Lake Memorial is a critical access level 3 trauma center, offering immediate access to radiology, lab services, surgery, and internal medicine consults. The ER teams are well-trained professionals who are ready to act when you have an emergency. Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth.
Out here, we've always worked remote. Out here, stress usually refers to the pull on a rope. Where a stroll in the city is also a stroll in the great outdoors. Where work is a way of life, and life is good. Out here, the backyards are big, and the deals, they're even bigger. This is southwestern Wyoming, and it's where you can get the biggest deals on a vehicle you want with plenty of hometown hospitality. Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Whether it's for your home, your ranch, your equipment, or your business, when you need propane, count on the best. T7 Propane in Woodruff. The safe and professional team at T7 Propane offers quality product and the most responsive propane service in the area, so you can enjoy the affordability, reliability, and efficiency of propane. For heating, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for your personal or business propane needs. 435-793-4208.
At Reese Auto Service in Lyman, you will find highly skilled mechanics who will get the job done right the first time. They work on anything from light line jobs of tire alignments, suspension work, and oil changes to heavy line jobs of engine replacement, differentials, and all powertrain components. Make sure all your recreational vehicles are working at top speed by getting them checked at Reese Auto Service in Lyman so your time having fun doesn't end early. Reese Auto Service, 541 State Highway 413, Lyman.
And we welcome you back to Homefield Advantage, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Also, a big thank you to T7 Propane and First Bank of Wyoming, as well as Union and Les Schwab Plains Tires, as we come to you from the Union and Les Schwab Plains Tires broadcast studio. Without the help of those sponsors, this would not be possible. And not only would this not be possible, but we got some great soccer games coming up this weekend. It would not be possible to cover those, but let's go ahead and start with the Bridger Valley.
Yeah, so with the Bridger Valley, and on Tuesday, we recapped last week's games. Well, the Bridger Valley teams face the same opponent this week, but this time on the road. So Green River and Mountain View and Lyman, they'll complete their conference games this week. And starting off tomorrow, boys kick off for 5 p.m., girls for 3 p.m., as lately Lyman's done the flip. So I thought the boys were at 3 p.m. No, it's at Green River. The girls are going to be at 3, boys at 5. But on Friday, tomorrow, Lyman at Green River. Going to be a fun matchup. We start with the girls' side. They lost 6-5 to Green River last time out. And the big concept of this game is going to be defending Isabel Vasco. 6 goals in that game. She had 6 versus the Lady Buffaloes as well. So it's going to be trying to take the ball off of her, because when Green River builds up the attack, they just pass it to her and everyone stands off to the side and she does the rest of the damage on the pitch. But it's going to be making her pass the ball off, try to pressure her, try to collapse those running lanes around her, and in any way, shape, or form, try to pick the ball off her. You don't want to do it in a sense where you get a yellow or a red card, because then you're down a player. Because sometimes coaches, they will sub out the person with the yellow just for a couple minutes, because they don't want to lose their player to back-to-back yellow cards in a quick time frame. But what's going to be for the Lady Eagles is going to be defending against Vasco. And, with that 6-5 result last time out, I think the Lady Eagles could definitely get a win on the board and help their case towards the final spot for state.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's exciting for Lyman, because Mountain View has always been that team in the state tournament, and now Lyman's got a chance. And not most importantly, but one thing that really stands out is Carly Sabies finally got a chance to play playoff soccer.
Yes,
and that's something I think a lot of people want to see. So this is a big game for them right now. Green River ranked as one of the top girls teams in the 3A, so it's not going to be easy. Of course, we had that 12-goal weekend by that one Green River player last week. So I think that's going to be the number one thing, is keep your eye on them. Make someone else beat you this week.
Well, and looking at the standings, Green River currently holds that last spot with 12 points. Guess who are behind both the 6 points each? Mountain View and Lyman. So if both teams could get a critical win, now you're looking at a game back of Green River. But at the same moment in time, the Lady Wolves kind of hold that advantage a little bit. Green River's only played 6 conference games. Mountain View and Lyman have played 7. So you put that on paper, Green River technically has a somewhat of a 2-game advantage on hand, depending on how the rest of the season pans out for them. But with that matchup, it's going to be very critical for Lady Eagles to get on the ball early, get the attack going. Sabi has 15 goals in the season. She's having a miraculous season, but it's going to be a lot of helping from her teammates as well. Switching to the Lyman boys side, they lost 5-0 to Green River at home. And for this Lyman team, it's kind of also the same with basketball, a very young team that's shown very big bright spots. And you might be saying, well, how young is this Lyman Eagles soccer team? We only have 1 senior on their roster.
Yeah.
Only 1 senior. So everyone except Wyatt Nebaker is going to be returning next year for this team. And a lot of bright spots, a lot of names that we see across other sports. Odin Ayer, Mason Imoni play soccer for Lyman. So they're young, they're quick. They just need to kind of get that groove underneath them and to get better touches on the ball, because when they get the ball at their feet, they run down the field in a hurry and try to get chances on net.
And, of course, Green River also one of the top 3A boys teams right now.
They're the only undefeated team left in conference play. Conference play in the 3A, and their only loss in the season was to Warland.
Well, and this just kind of hammers home how important these games are. The fact that there's no regional tournament for 3A soccer. It's your record. It's the top 4 at the end of the regular season. That is the teams that are going to state. So it isn't one of those deals where, okay, let's see what kind of momentum we can build to go into the regional tournament and then have a great weekend to try to get into state. No, this is it. And you mentioned these are the final some of the final games for these teams. This is going to be it's going to be a fascinating finish for this season for both of these teams.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And switching to the Mountain View side of things, Saturday, girls tip off at 11 a.m., boys at 1 p.m. Back down at Green River High School. I'll be live for both games down there. Of course, pending due weather, supposedly thunderstorms in the area Friday and Saturday with some rain/snow mix. It's Wyoming weather in the spring. You never know what's going to happen. But with the Mountain View girls, they lost 7-6 to Green River in a thriller of a game. Vasco scored the game winner with about 2 minutes left in the competition. And once again, it's more of just trying to take Vasco out of the game for both sides, for Mountain View and Lyman. And for KNYN, who is the new keeper who replaced Emily Anderson in net for the Lady Buffaloes, to get that big game she wants. She's been really critical so far in that, and it's an amazing job defending the net very well. But this week, it's going to be on her shoulders, as well as the defense, to try to shut out this Lady Wolves attack, which has been phenomenal.
The new Preps coaches and media poll just came out, actually. And on the 3A girls, no surprise, Cody's number 1, Lander is number 2, Worland is 3, Douglas 4, Powell 5, Green River, and Lyman each getting votes.
Yes.
Green River getting a third, two fourth place, and a fifth place, and Lyman getting a fifth place vote. On the boys' side, Torrington's number 1, Worland is number 2, Green River 3, Cody 4, Lander 5, Powell, Douglas, and Buffalo each getting votes. So that's kind of where you kind of dive into these polls. The one thing I think that really stands out to me, Cody's a dynasty, and everybody expects them to continue that this year. It really seems like that.
Yeah, and Cody's just one of the better teams on both sides. And switching to the boys' side for Mountain View, this is going to be the critical week with Kathy Picola, head coach of the Buffaloes, having a roster now that's been depleted by injuries. And this week, building new formations. Talking to her in the interview, she said, hey, we're going to be switching a lot of players back and forth. You're going to see some names from the defensive side, maybe playing attack a little bit, and kind of switching everyone around on the pitch and finding that perfect technical formation. She's going more technical now than the fast-paced Buffaloes offense we've seen in the beginning of the season, with Nash Picola out for the season, Brockton Walker out for the season. Granted, good news, Andrew Harmon has been cleared to play for Saturday. He's a big name and a big threat when he's on the field with his brother, Aiden Harmon. So when those two are connecting well, it can spell trouble for the opposition. And the Buffaloes lost 3-1 to Green River last week. We'll see what they can do this week here in another critical conference matchup. With the Buffaloes only 3 points out of fourth place, Powell currently holds that final spot. And this time, Powell has played one more game than the Buffaloes. So the Buffaloes technically have a game and a half, 2-game advantage on Powell, depending how the regular season ends. And of course, a little preview of not this week, but the next week. Both Bridge Valley teams are Cody and Powell in crucial games. So those could be some state tournament deciders right there as well. As I'll wrap up our Bridger Valley segment here on Homefield Advantage, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital.
All right, now we'll go ahead and move into the Evanston section.
Oh, yes, I totally forgot about Evanston.
We're going to do both soccer, and then we'll take a break and we'll talk about some baseball coming up. All right, here's the situation. Today, Riverton and Rock Springs play at 5 o'clock, and if Riverton win, then that makes this game very, very interesting coming up on Friday. Of course, Evanston and Riverton, they will play. Hang on one second. Am I looking at the right thing? Right now they have, according to WyoPreps, they have the boys playing at 5 and the girls playing at 3.
Okay.
So that's I'll have to double check because according to our school calendar, it looks like we're playing at 5 and 7. So I'll have to double check that. But you cannot undersell how important this game is.
Yes.
Because you look at the standings right now, especially for the boys, in the 4A West, right now Evanston, but going into the week, sits 6th. Riverton sits 7th. Evanston has not picked up a point this week, so they currently sit at 6 points. Riverton sits at 4 points right now. So if they can get any type of result against Rock Springs, that will draw them closer to Evanston. But if they lose and it's a 2-point battle, basically the winner of this game is going to be in a very good spot to avoid playing that dreaded Kelly Walsh Jackson potential game in regionals. I think you look at the rest of the West, Evanston I think has a good shot against any of them.
Evanston does, and this boys team has made leaps and bounds
Yes.
since the beginning of the season, since the 16-1 loss to Jackson, and then doing better against Kelly Walsh and doing better against team after team after team, and almost had the win versus Rock Springs. Was tied up 1-1, and Rock Springs scored a late game winner, and that's how that one ends. And that's just soccer in general.
Yep.
One goal could be that difference between a win or a loss or a tie. But for the Red Devils this week, it's going to have to be a crucial win on the road at Riverton to try to stay out of that matchup between Kelly Walsh or Jackson, but also to try to just put some momentum back on the table. A close loss of Rock Springs can definitely halt a chemistry, and if they can just go in that right direction and get the win versus Riverton on the road, which they did early this season. They won at home versus Riverton.
Yeah, they won that one. Final score 2-1.
They could probably definitely do that again. This boys team could be definitely on their path to a good spot at regionals.
So here's the situation. Look at what happened last year, and these are two completely different teams. So you can't draw that much from. But when you look at what happened last year, Evanston. I think I'm seeing something. I'm seeing ghosts right now on my thing. Evanston, they tied Riverton when they came here. It was one of those types of games. And then they went to Riverton and lost 3-1, and it was a backbreaker goal late type situation. So these two teams are used to playing on the boys' side, just kind of bite your nails, white knuckle it to the finish type ball. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on this one. As far as the girls, unfortunately, with that loss to Rock Springs, I think you may need to be prepared for one of the more difficult matchups in the regional tournament. As going into this week, they were down at the bottom of the standings, and then that loss to Rock Springs is going to keep them down there at one point as they have the draw against Star Valley. So, and you've got a tough schedule. You've got Riverton, which I think they're number 5 right now on the Wild Preps Coaches and Media Poll. And then next week you've got Kelly Walsh, the reigning state champions, and Natrona County, who is sitting right now in that 4th place spot. So you're playing the 1, the 3, and the 4 teams in the region right now in the West. For your last 3 games of the year. It's a tough stretch. I mean, this team is more than capable of doing it. Unfortunately, injuries, I think, has kind of made it very, very difficult on them.
And that's just a tough point in the season where if there are injuries to current players that just fill that huge role in the team, it could decimate a squad. And I think Evanston are going to have to prepare for matchups without those players, but also have some of the bench players come off and kind of shine in those roles if they want to get a win on the season, if they want to try to get a couple more points that boost up their ranking in the standings.
Yeah. Riverton is a good team.
Yes.
Not only are they a good team, though, they are very, very, very young, which is almost more scary, the fact that they are so good so early. I mean, a lot of these girls are now sophomores on this Riverton team. Last time Evanston and Riverton played, it was a Riverton Lady Wolverines victory over at K. Fackrell Stadium, 7-0. Last year, though, and this is with a lot of the same girls, this Riverton team went to state. They beat Evanston 13-2 in Evanston in game 1, and then 5-0 in game 2 over in Riverton. About the same time of the year that we're at now. So I think for the girls, I think you got to go out there, you got to put out your best effort, and you got to just kind of let the chips fall where they may and see what happens. But for the boys, man, this is huge. This is a huge weekend. You can take a little bit of a sigh of relief. Depending on what if Riverton wins tonight against Rock Springs, which they are capable of, then Riverton gets ahead of Evanston by 1 point. And at that point, you need a result, preferably a win. If Rock Springs beats Riverton tonight and you get the win tomorrow, you can breathe a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fascinating. We'll be talking about that, I'm sure, tomorrow in the pregame show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So As of right now, according to WyoPreps, it's 3-5, but according to the school calendar, which I think is what we're going with, game times are at 5 and 7. They have the boys playing at 5 o'clock, the girls playing at 7 over at Wolverine Stadium in Riverton. So if that is the case, you can catch our pregame show brought to you by Kazine's Ace and Furniture at 4:30 p.m. live on mylocalradio.com. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get you set for opening day, Outlaws opening day tonight in Rock Springs, as we'll have an interview with Coach Nick Small. You're tuned in to Homefield Advantage, brought to you by Jake Major at the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital.
Hey there, I'm Jake Major, your local Medicare and insurance benefits advisor for the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. With over 25 years of experience protecting families in rural America, we understand the importance of having affordable insurance coverage. Whether you're searching for extra coverage or looking to understand and switch your Medicare options, I can help you find a range of top-rated insurance companies and tailor-made packages based on your needs. Call me, Jake Major, today at 307-209-4685, and let's discuss your insurance options. We're the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, when benefits matter.
If you've never heard a mechanic say they truly care, then you've been at the wrong place. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff is a family-owned and operated business open since 1992. Offering all types of maintenance and repair services, you can be sure your vehicle is operating at its best. Whether your vehicle is older or the newest model, gas or diesel, we fix and maintain them all. Also offering chip repair, windshield replacement, and tires. When your vehicle needs a mechanic, bring it to the ones who truly care. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff.
Founded in 1938 with the hopes and dreams of serving the Bridger Valley, Benedict's Trading Company was started. Now 85 years and 3 generations later, Benedict's Market is still serving the Bridger Valley by offering the highest quality meats and fresh produce to having fresh baked items and hot deli options. Benedict's Market is your one stop for all of your grocery needs. Benedict's Market offers the best services in a modern setting to make your shopping both quick and easy. Visit them today at 950 North Highway 414, Mountain View, Wyoming.
Life is better in the country. KNYN, Fort Bridger, Evanston, Woodruff, 99.1, the country you want to be in.
Welcome back live inside Homefield Advantage, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Anthony Colasino alongside Elin Olive. And quickly before we get into the Outlaws and opening day, we'd like to thank some sponsors. Reese Auto, Stacy's Repair, Benedict's Ace, Benedict's Market, Heritage Auto, and Station on Main. Without any of you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to cover the teams that we love and just bring amazing high school athletics to the radio and to our streaming platforms. And Elin, it is baseball season. It is opening day for the Evanston Outlaws as they'll take on the Rock Springs Stallions down in Rock Springs tonight. And my favorite quote from Major League: hats for bats. Keep bats warm. What's your handicap? Keep bats warm.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep those bats warm tonight because Rock Springs does have a few games under their belt. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I got a chance to talk with Coach Nick Small. He's the manager of the Evanston Outlaws. This is his second year with this group, or third year actually with this group. So that makes him probably one of the longest tenured Outlaw managers we've had in a minute. So he knows this team backwards and forwards. He knows what the expectations are. And let me tell you, Matt. Not Matt. Let me tell you, Anthony, the expectations are high. And let's go ahead and go to that interview right now. Here with Evanston Outlaws manager Nick Small. Coach Small, it's finally here. Baseball season, it's here. Tell us about this team this year. I know there's a lot of returners, but there is some new blood. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're returning pretty much last year's same team, minus a couple kids. Brody Clifton aged out on us, and unfortunately, Red Anderson's still dealing with an injury, so he won't be able to play this year. But outside of that, returning the whole team, plus 6 or 7 new kids coming to us this year.
When you say returning the whole team, does that include the fifth-year options of Braxton Bauer and Walker Wilson?
Correct. Yeah, they'll both be back as soon as they're done with college. We'll expect to see them in middle of May, early May. We'll have them back.
Coach, last year the improvement kind of came from on the defensive side of the field. This year, obviously, there's improvements that are going to be made this year, but just in the short time in training you guys have had, where do you see this team improving the most from 2023?
We started this year and we've been working pretty hard. Kids were excited to get out and we got a little earlier spring than we did last year. So we've got a lot more outside practice in before we kick off the games this week. And, I think offensively, I'm really happy with where we're at with the bats. Defensively, it's going to be a work in progress early in the spring. We still haven't seen a lot of ground balls, fly balls outside, but with a veteran group, that should be a pretty quick turnaround for us.
Are there any wrinkles you're going to put in this year that maybe you weren't able to do last year?
No, I think you're going to see about the same pretty consistent lineup. Ryder will probably be leading us off. Gavin and Braxton in the middle there with Brecken and Jackson Osborne, and Damien Kamen following up the 9-hole hitter with us. So it'll be pretty much about the same lineup with a few new kids in the mix there. We got Jaden Winley and Tyson Bateman that have been with this group quite a while, and it's going to be their year to get in and fill some holes for us, and excited to see what those two kids can do.
Coach, we've talked about the offense and the defensive side of the ball. One thing that was a bright spot last year was the pitching staff. 2 years ago, Gavin Oliver was the guy that was kind of the man on top of the rotation. Last year, it was Brecken Rich as he earned the start in the first playoff game of the year last year. This year, what are you guys expecting for performance on the mound?
Yeah, we are bringing a lot of pitchers back, a lot of older arms. We got Gavin, Brecken, and Walker. Those three will probably be our horses for the starting rotation. And then been real impressed with the strength that Ryder's put on. He's been doing a lot of work in the gym, and really noticing that with him throwing the ball this spring. Damien has kind of been our go-to middle relief guy, and he's going to chew up a lot of innings for us as well.
That is Nick Small, manager of the Evanston Outlaws. They open up the season at 6 o'clock on Thursday, April 25th, live from Rock Springs. They'll take on the Stallions. You can catch that on mylocalradio.com and on the radio at KNYN 99.1 FM. Coach, thank you so much for the time. Best luck. We'll be pulling for you. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No, thank you guys, and we're excited to get on the field. We'll see you guys Thursday. Thank you.
Big thank you to Coach Nick Small for joining us here on Homefield Advantage. And Anthony, in case you couldn't tell, I am excited. I am decked head to toe. I got my Outlaw hat on. I got my Outlaw hoodie on. I am ready for a cool night in Rock Springs.
Yes.
And we will be there to bring you all the action from opening day. This is a team that has high hopes. 20-22 last year. Unfortunately, things kind of, how baseball is. It's kind of a roller coaster momentum type game.
You have slumps, and then you have times where your team is just hitting it straight out of the park, and that's just the love of baseball. There's those games where you put up 15 hits in the game, you might put up 20 runs with those 15 hits, and then the next day you could go out and only get 3 hits as a team, and you get shut out 8-0.
So in the month of June, they were really, really good. They put up lots of wins, got some wins at the Pocatello tournament, swept Rollins, played pretty well, beat Layton, beat the boss Napa, beat Rollins again. So in the month of June, they were really, really good. July, when they really hit a peak here, of course, that was capitalized by a 4-3 win over the Powell Pioneers on July 1 at the night invite. At the time, Powell would prove this right, was ranked the number 1 team in the state. They went on to win the state championship. And Evanston was the last team before Cody beat them at the state tournament. So Evanston and Cody, those were the teams that were able to beat Powell. going down the backstretch. At one point, Evanston rattled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in a row in May. But unfortunately, July, the bats went cold. They got that win on July 1st, and then they would only get 4 more wins the rest of the month. Unfortunately, not getting past Green River in a 6-12 game in the elimination round where the winner goes to state, loser goes home at the district tournament. And unfortunately, they weren't able to go. Good news is as Coach Small said, almost everyone is back. Yeah. Everyone but one contributor or 2 major contributors are back. So that's exciting. Walker Wilson, who I was told is not going to be playing tonight, I got a text about 10 minutes before the show started. He will be playing tonight. Ooh. So that is a huge upgrade for Evanston tonight. Braxton Bauer, he's going to be back at some point. This is the year. If you're going to do something for the Outlaws, this is the best chance you're going to have. They have a lot that can come back next year too, but if you're going to go and try to make a run, a deep playoff run, it's 2024. This is the year.
Absolutely. When you mentioned all those names returning back and Coach Small saying, oh yeah, everyone's back. Mm-hmm. Everyone is back except maybe a couple of the graduating seniors that couldn't find that 5th year of American Legion baseball. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Because you don't find that often in American Legion at all when you can have so many players come back in a year.
Just from a quick scan, I would say the 2 teams in the state there's 3 teams that are bringing almost everyone back. Green River, because they were so young. Mm-hmm. Powell, the reigning state champions, are bringing everyone back because they were all juniors last year. They're graduating in like a month. And then us. And the West, I think that could be interesting. Cody is always going to be have something to say about it. Coach Bo White has got that team. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Cody back out on the top. But I think Powell's the team to beat until someone can prove me wrong. And they've already played a few games, so it'll be interesting to see when Evanston crosses paths with Powell. There's no scheduled game right now with Powell, but they're going to be at a lot of the same tournaments. So I'd imagine we will see them at some point.
Yeah,
and then. Riverton, they're a team that's back after missing last year. Saratoga's a brand new team, really, really young. And then we know what we have with Rollins and Green River. Ben Lale, reigning manager of the year. They're going to be very, very good. So baseball season's here. I cannot wait. And go Outlaws. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Outlaws opening day tonight at Rock Springs, 6 o'clock first pitch, 5:15 pregame show brought to you by Kazine's Ace and Furniture, live on mylocalradio.com and on the radio at KNYN 99.1 FM, all part of the My Local Radio Sports Network. That's going to do it. I'm Elon Alf. That's Anthony Calasuno. We'll see you guys live from Rock Springs tonight for Outlaws opening day. Remember, 5:15 pregame, 6 o'clock first pitch. We'll see you then.